Okay, in this video, I'd like to show you how to do forms with subforms. Okay, so it's all about subforms. So we'll create a form, and then we'll create a subform inside it, and we'll get them so they're linked together, so that as you step through records in one, the records in the other change, the related records change. Okay, so pretty powerful stuff, very easy to do in Access. Okay, so let's have a look at that. We'll create a blank form. Okay, and we'll go into Design View, and we'll make this so it's based on the Customers table. So we'll change that. We'll go to the Data tab, Property Sheet, and make that Customer. Okay, now we can add existing fields, and we'll select them all. We're not going to worry about being too neat this time. It's just going to be a little temporary, a quick form. There we've got the customer details. Okay, and up here in the controls panel, we can choose. That's the subform one there. So just hold the mouse over it and you'll see it's a subform or subreport. So click on that, and then you can drag and highlight where you want a subform to go. Okay, and then use existing tables and queries. Okay, we can do that. And we'll make it so it's based on the stays table. So the subform is going to be based on the stays table. It's going to show the stays for a customer. Okay. For now, we'll just choose all those records. It's not a bad thing to do. You can easily remove them later. Okay. And next, and Access has a pretty good go at trying to choose which field lines up with which other one. Now we've set up the relationships in that relationships screen that we looked at earlier. So Access already knows that the customer IDs are what match up. Okay. Show the stays for each record in customer using customer ID. Okay, so it's relating it via customer ID. Because we set up those relationships earlier. If we hadn't set those up, we'd have to just choose and show Access how we want to join our tables, how we want things to match up. Okay, so setting up the relationships does save you a bit of time later. Next, what do you want to call it? Well, I'm happy to call it the stays subform. Okay, we'll just hide that for now, hide the field list. We'll expand this out, and we'll drag that over. Just so we've got a little bit of room there to play with. So let's now look at that on the screen and see what that looks like. So Form View, and you'll see that you've got two navigation sections here. We'll see with the Record Selector as well. We could turn on and off just like we did in an earlier video. So as we step through customers, this is a customer one, this is a stays one here. Okay. So as we step through customers, we'll see the list of stays changes. So these are the stays for each customer. Okay. And Mike's got all those stays, but everyone else has just stayed a little bit in a few places. Okay, so Samuel hasn't stayed only in one place. Hankel, Frankie, and so on have only stayed in one place each, and Mike stayed in a few places. Okay, so that's how you link subforms and forms together. Let's just have a look at a little bit of detail there. So we'll go back to Design View, and in here you can do the same sort of things you can with the outer form. So you can click there to click there on this one. So click there, and you can see where it's getting its data from, and you'll see that it's actually getting the data out of the table here. And this is what's called, this code here that you're looking at is what's called SQL, and it's code to access data from the database. Okay, so basically it's saying, give me everything from the stays table. Okay, we could replace that with star, or we could just say stays. Both exactly the same. Okay, we're getting everything out of the stays table. Okay, let's go back to Form View just so I can prove that's correct. Okay, so it still works fine. Back to Design View. So how does Access know which fields to link up? I mean, we know it linked them up properly because we've seen it in action, and we know we set up our referential our integrity rules earlier. We dragged customer ID into the stays table so that we could make that link and so on. But how do we know, how can we check that here to make sure Access is doing the right thing? But if you just click on the subform there and you get that yellow border, you can see here we've got the linked fields. So the master field is customer ID, and the child field that it's linking to is customer ID. In other words, the customer ID in the customer table is linking to the customer ID in the stays table. Okay, because the subform is based on the stays table. Okay, so that's how you can prove it and change it. So if you needed to change it, you could change it as well. You could choose different fields. Okay, but customer ID is the right one. Customer ID in customer links to customer ID in stays, so that we can get the stays for each customer. And it's that easy to do forms and subforms. Access makes it so easy. Form view, so we can step through customers. The navigation controls don't really make sense here. It's just going through this each individual stay. So you could hide those as well, just like we saw in the earlier video. We can turn those off. We can turn the record selector off. We could add our own buttons to navigate and so forth. Okay, so we can do a whole lot of things. Now, see, we're getting customer ID here. We don't really want customer ID because it's the same customer ID, so we could get rid of that. Hotel ID of 2, not very useful. Okay, and we're missing out on number of nights. It's over here, just truncated, so we could improve things a bit. Let's look at doing that. Back to design view. Okay, we'll close our property sheet for now. We'll extend this over, and we'll extend our subform over, and also drag that over as well. And we'll drag that back over there as well, just to make it so we're using up the most screen as we can. Now, we don't want to show customer ID and things in the subform. Let's just delete it. Okay, easy as that. Just click the delete key. Okay, and hotel ID, well, we could do something similar as well to what we did with the combo boxes earlier. So let's try our combo box trick that we've already used. Okay, bring up the property sheet, and the row source is hotel, and we'll do our columns trick. We'll do columns 3 or columns 1 or columns 2. Okay, we just want the name. We don't want the address as well, and we could specify 0 for the ID and say 6 for the name, whatever you like. Okay, let's give that a try. Form view. And you'll see now that we see the hotel. Okay, and we can use, because we've got editing turned on for our records, we can even change it. We can use this to edit the data, so we can have, instead of staying at Turtle Paradise, we're now staying at the Reef Resort. Okay, so we can change things in here as well. So one thing you might want to think about with these things is whether you want the user to be able to access or edit fields in these screens. What do you want to enable a user to change? Okay, so it's very easy to specify what's editable and what's not, and you can do that via the design view again. Okay, so there's lots of ways you can do this. I'll just show you one way that's going to turn it off for the whole subform, but you can actually turn it off and have more control as well if you want. But I'll just show you one way. Just keep it simple. So design view, and down here we're going to click on our subform selection. Okay, so selection type is form, so we've selected our subform selection here, and here you'll see allow additions, allow deletions, and so on, allow edits. Okay, so you can really limit things. So you can no additions, the user can't add any more data on that form, the user can't delete anything, and the user can't edit anything. Okay, so that's locked it down pretty thoroughly. Okay, so let's now look at that form in action, form view, and you'll see here I can no longer change the selection. It won't let me change the selection. The combo box is still there, but I can't change it. I can't change the number of nights, and so on. On the screen before I locked it down, I could have changed the number of nights and so on. Okay, so that's a little bit about forms and subforms. There's plenty more we could cover, but that's just a nice introduction. Hope that was useful.